After having written our book, Relentless Solution Focus, people would often come up to me and say some version of, I've always wanted to write a book, or it's been on my bucket list to write a book someday. How'd you do it? And my response was always the same. Just start. It's literally that simple. So many huge goals or aspirations never get accomplished because people are simply too overwhelmed to start. But you write a book by opening your computer, then writing for a few minutes one day, then a few more minutes the next day, and then you do that consistently over the course of months. Now, one of the things that I hope you're learning through your work so far in this course is that it literally is that simple. You've started it. But now how do you get yourself to keep doing it? Now think about it. How often do you know you need to do something, but you struggle to get started? Now, if your answer is every day, you're like most people. Now, do you ever have the experience of finishing something that you've been putting off and then thinking to yourself, that wasn't that bad at all. Why did I put it off for so long? Of course, we've all had that experience. Now, here's the thing. When something is important, it has perceived weight to it. It's usually much easier for us to check emails or knock the less important things off our list because they seem easier to do because they are just that. They're less important. In what universe, though, does it make sense to prioritize doing less important things before the more important things? But we've all done it. We've even made habits out of this method that are hard to break. Now, we have the great Sir Isaac Newton's first law of motion to thank for this one. In 1687, Newton proposed the law of inertia. A body at rest tends to remain at rest. A body in motion tends to remain in motion, unless acted on by an outside force. Now, understanding this law of motion is really important, and I think about this all the time throughout my day. If we can get ourselves to start, the hardest part of the battle is over. Now, I know this sounds too good to be true, but you wouldn't believe how many people just never start. And it's normal for our brains to stay so focused on the entirety of the task or the result that it never even considers the first step, the start. Open your computer, putting on your tennis shoes, picking up the phone. Just do the first step. Human inertia is a powerful thing. Once you do one thing, it'll be hard not to do a second, and then even harder not to do the third. Once you start your first minute, it will be hard not to continue. Now, let's be clear, though. That outside force, part of the law of inertia, that can halt progress, does not have to be all that great. This could be as simple as taking a quick break to check email or scroll through social media. This could be a phone call or a lingering feeling of self-doubt. The key is that we've got to get the body in motion, though, by focusing on the start. And then we've got to protect against those outside forces. Now, we'll tackle the outside forces in lessons to come. But for now, let's just focus on the start. It's not writing the entire book. It's the 30 minutes of writing done consistently each day. It's opening your computer. Once you've done that, you've won. So here's what I want you to do today. I want you to decide what is the first step toward your process goals, or even just the important projects at work that you know you need to tackle, or cleaning out your closet, or whatever big or small thing you've been putting off. Opening your computer, putting on your gym shoes, picking up the phone. And that's it. That's all I want you to do. That's all I want you to focus on for this next week. Decide what this first step is so you know what you need to emphasize. So for me, this is usually opening a document on my iPad. One of my process goals involves writing content, and I usually don't want to do it, but I also know that once I get going, I usually get into it and the momentum takes care of itself. And for my other process goal of getting cardio done 5 to 6 times per week, this is usually either putting on my tennis shoes or to just start walking. Sometimes the idea of walking and listening to my podcast sounds enjoyable to me, but running does not sound enjoyable. So many times I just start walking. Usually I end up running, but not every time. And that's okay. Every time doesn't need to be perfection. It needs to be done. Focus on the start.